Hi, welcome to Astrology and Earth Magic. I'm Jen and I'm here to provide some witchy wisdom to welcome in our first harvest festival of this year, and that is Lammas or Lughnasadh. This is the first of 3 harvest festivals that we have on the Wiccan wheel of the year. The second is Mabon and the last being Samhain. And this is celebrated on August 1st. And Lammas, it translates to loaf mass. And this is the beginning of harvest season and harvesting the wheat and the corn that's really starting to get full and abundant. So bread making is really a tradition on this day. And I did just that. So check that out. And here's how mine came out. I think it looks pretty appetizing. It's a cream cheese soda bread with rosemary and wildflower honey. So we'll have to see how this tastes. Looks pretty good to me. Looks pretty good to me, I think. So this Sabbat is a cross quarter, meaning it takes place between, it's at the halfway mark between the summer solstice and the autumn equinox. So this is equivalent to the waning gibbous moon phase. So we are waning down. So just like how the moon gets a little bit dimmer, we're waning down as well with this phase. You are now reaping the benefits of the hard work that you've put in during that waxing phase. So this is a time to really just give thanks, and it's a shedding away of the excess baggage, the things that don't work anymore for you, the things that are kind of holding you back, and what's not really being beneficial to you anymore, and taking time to really just reflect on the work that you've done, your goals moving forward. So what are you going to do after this as we start waning down and start getting ready for the fall season? Currently, this is really a perfect time for this to all be taking place, of course, because we have so many retrogrades going on right now. So we are encouraged, almost forced, to look back on things in retrospect, to kind of just judge ourselves almost and rethink things and redo things a little bit. It's, again, time to shed that excess, a time of sacrifice. And the sacrifice is really going to be for the good of the future. And it's just like the Wiccan pagan tradition that we have during Lammas, and that is of John Barleycorn. Quite the story. So he's the symbol of sacrifice, and the embodiment of the wheat and barley crops, pretty much. So he symbolizes the crops being cut down. So in the folklore, John Barleycorn would be out in the fields, and the people would go out and his, pretty much they cut his head off, and that was to start the sowing season of gathering the wheat. So he would then sacrifice, his blood would go out, and that would be what would fertilize the land for the coming season, for the next season to come, or for the next year to come. So again, symbolically beheaded, a little bit extreme, but his blood gives back to the soil for the future harvest. And so the cutting of the wheat is the cutting off of his head, so just getting ready for it. So bread is baked with this wheat that we cut. It's baked and shared with the whole community, pretty much, as they did in times years ago in folklore. And it's similar to the Christian tradition. You always see the similarities there. So this is kind of the pagan tradition of that bread sharing that goes back, very, very long ago. Also, beer and whiskey are big drinks of the season. So we have bread and then beer and whiskey, because they're made from wheat and barley, getting cut down, and always finding a way to just kind of get a little bit of alcohol in these festivals. That always kind of cracks me up a little bit, but it does make it a little more fun, right? And we'll always cheers to that. Cheers. Another symbol of Lammas that is very similar to how the Wiccan traditions fall on the like moon phases, and they correspond with different moon phases, just like Lammas is the waning gibbous phase. It also ties into astrology with the dwarf planet Ceres, and she is the grain goddess. She is where we really get the word cereal from, is Ceres. In astrology, we know her as the ruler of agriculture, and she is the mother, she's the nurturer, she's one of the 4 major asteroid goddesses, even though she is a dwarf planet. In mythology, even her glyph is a sickle with a cross. So it looks like a sickle with a cross for like a handle. And she, in mythology, she was a devoted mother. Her daughter Persephone got kidnapped by Hades and dragged into the underworld and was forced to marry him. And this is kind of what goes on this time of year as things start to kind of wane down, and that is what's bringing in the changes of the season, is when her daughter goes underground, but then she is brought back to life once a year and brought back, which is with the spring. So it's that kind of like death and rebirth that we see going on around us in just nature in general. So Ceres reminds us also to love and appreciate the simple things in life. You would say the plainness of life, and to appreciate what is plain and just what is like natural beauty, or in your natural beauty. See, of course, where she falls in your astrology chart, to see how you nurture yourself and how you nurture others. See how you relate to food, because she is the goddess of agriculture, of food. So see how your relationship is with food, and your relationship with the natural environment around you. And where you feel secure. So she is that security. So look in your chart, run your astrological chart, and find that glyph that looks like a little sickle with a cross for a handle on it. With Lammas, to celebrate her, you want to take the time to embrace your natural beauty, appreciate, everything that you've been given, the body that you're blessed with, hair, face, skin, whatever. Let your hair just fall naturally. I've been just letting my grays grow out. I'm sure you guys can see it. It might look like it's little highlights from the sun, but it's not. But I embrace these because I feel that the grays on my hair are kind of like that Saturn, because Saturn is that gray, cold planet. But the grays in my hair are like the things that I've worked for, the hard things that I've, the ups and downs in my life, the stress, and all the wisdom, though, that I've gained from everything I've gone through. And it just reflects right here. So look how much. There's a lot. So there's a lot of wisdom in there. So you want to embrace that natural beauty. Somehow, maybe like just let your skin breathe. Take all that makeup off, and just like, you don't have to have all that on you. Throw your heels off to the side and just walk barefoot in the grass, and it will just feel really good, and just become one with nature and your natural surroundings. Get away from the TV and all those false things, your computer, put that down, your laptop, whatever, and just kind of take some time to take in the naturalness and what the world has to offer. Bring also the beauty of nature into your home, and that's with like nice earthy and natural elements. I did that. I have some driftwood that I found in Sebago Lake, where we go when we go to Maine, and I found some driftwood, and it looks so pretty. You just let it dry out, you put it, and you can put some flowers on it, bring some flowers inside. I have tons of black-eyed Susans here. I don't have any sunflowers, but I have these galore, so you can pick a little bunch of those, bring them in the house, and it just brings that outside natural beauty inside. And just so you can appreciate it. You can also do some fun crafts, and here's one. So a fun little craft to make during Lammas is a corn dolly. Now, this is usually made from the last wheat or corn stalk that's left in the field, and that symbolizes the spirit of the grain. So if you've ever driven by a cornfield and it's just been totally raised down, and you see that one corn stalk that's still just standing there, it could be a sign that that farmer maybe practices a little Appalachian pagan witchery. I don't know. But what you want to do to make your corn dolly is you want to gather your supplies like this, and you want to focus on positive, because you want to infuse this doll with positive intentions. And this is going to be intentions for the upcoming season. Maybe you want to, if you're feeling a little tense, maybe clear the area, especially if you're in the house, with a little bit of sage or Palo Santo. I'm outside, so it's pretty clear. The air is flowing, so this is nice. And then just get to work. So I have my materials here. So what I am using is corn, because I don't have a lot of wheat fields around me, but I have a ton of corn fields around me. So corn was my choice. So you can make it however you want. So I'm gonna just pretty much use this as the dress. You can use the little stalks as arms and have them stick out like that, or legs, or she could have a dress and not. I even pulled this stuff off for hair. Make it however you want, make it yours. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be what they all look like on Pinterest. You want it to just make you happy. And if you suck at crafts like I suck at crafts, just do your best. It's not going to make it any better or worse as long as you're putting those good intentions into it. So I had this little farm down the street from my work, and this is already infused with good intentions because I got it on my break from work. Beautiful day outside, took a little walk, bought some corn, and this is what I'm gonna use. Traditionally, the corn doll is then hung or placed in the field to promote fertility and growth. So let's give it a little try and see how it turns out. We'll see you in a minute. So here's how my little corn dolly came out, and look at, she even has a beautiful braid. So I'm pretty pleased with how she looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna hang her right on that stake back there. I'm not sure if you can see it. And she is going to pretty much guard my garden and just bring it good luck. And when the season comes to an end, I'm gonna bury her in the soil and return that offering to earth as a token of thanks, and to put that life force that I put into her, with all that positivity that I put into her as I was making her, back into the soil. So you can also do the same thing by leaving like discarded veggies, herbs, peelings of things. Just throw them in there. Nothing's trash. And throughout the winter season, it's going to turn into kind of like a compost and just kind of really healthy that soil up a lot. I also like to grind up eggshells, and my dog Chili, which I know you see in all these videos, I give her eggs every weekend. I take the shells, I grind them up, because it's all for the positive. I grind up the shells and I sprinkle them all around the garden, and I think it's really being a big benefit. I talk to my plants, just really give them a lot of, that's life. That is a type of life, and you got to treat it like that. And it is kind of like, especially with the eggshells, I look at that as it's a rebirth or a new birth, because that's where birth springs from. And I want that, life to spring from my garden. So I sprinkle that around. If you don't have a garden, to hang your dolly on, of course, you can hang it on your front door, to just bring that positivity into your home. And when the season is over, you can bury it in a special place. If you have, a part of your yard that you can bury it in, even if you, live in an apartment, go into some woods, bury it there, or even just kind of let her go in a stream. That's why you want to use all natural materials when you're making her, and that way you could just let her go and she'll slowly decompose. Birds will use her as, making their nest. So it's a way to give back. So you don't have to have a big garden or anything like that. Mine looks pretty lush and crazy full, but it's kind of small. Anyway, Lammas or Lughnasadh, it marks the beginning of autumn also. So I know and this is in the Wiccan or pagan tradition, it marks the beginning of autumn. And I know, yeah, it's only the middle of summer, and no, don't rush autumn along because we still have the rest of the summer to come. But I remember when I was young, and once August comes, it's just kind of, you know, that the summer's winding down and you're starting to prepare for what's coming next. And, you know, it's not officially fall until September 22nd this year. But you can feel those changes starting to begin. There's changes in the air, even though today is humid as heck, but it's not quite the first yet. But you see preparations getting started for that autumn season. You see signs for state fairs that are coming up, and fairs are the fall thing, the fall tradition, especially here in New England. There's fairs everywhere, and you know, with great food and all that you just look forward to because they're so much fun. We have back to school sales, and that's going to Staples and getting all the stuff that you need for getting the kids back to school. Summer clothes are going on sale, and they're going on the clearance rack, and it makes room for all those big bulky sweaters to come in for the next season. So you can see the changes starting to happen. So even though, you know, we do still have half of the summer left to go, like, you know, in reality, it's really starting to wind down. Also, the farmers markets and craft fairs are really abundant around here, and they're a lot of fun. And I would definitely say try and get out and visit one of these outdoor markets or fairs. See the people behind the fruits and veggies that you're buying, that put all the work into growing them, the food that you eat, and the crafts that you buy. See, you know, the love that goes into them from these people that work so hard. And just, you know, give them a little bit of love and just tell them thanks for all that they do. Again, this is the time to give thanks for all the blessings and nourishment that the earth provides for us. Lammas is a time of reflection and a time of gratitude. And it's of setting those intentions for the coming season and preparing. What do you want for this upcoming season? What are you looking forward to? What are your goals coming up? What is it that you're working towards? And what did you work towards that now you're kind of waning down from? Okay, now I'm going to kind of go with this flow until we start all over again. And even if you aren't a practicing Wiccan, you can see these things all around you with everybody. As simple as like what I said about going back to school shopping, getting prepared, getting ready to can the veggies and the fruits that you've grown, making them into something that you're going to have throughout the winter season, because this is that preparation. You're saving that so you still have that, you know, abundance and freshness and the hard work that you still have to show for all through the winter months. And, you know, also, you know, buying cords of wood, filling up your oil tank, chopping down wood for your fires and things to keep you warm for the upcoming season. This is the things that you start seeing this time of year, because it is that time of preparation for the cooler days and nights ahead. Unfortunately, they are coming up. It's just around the corner. I'm kind of ready. This heat is really getting to me here in New England. It has been unbearably humid, and I will be very glad to have some relief from that. So I hope everyone has a great Lammas or Lughnasadh. Make it yours. Celebrate the season in a way that makes you feel happy, loved, and secure, with good food, good friends, and your family by your side. Please let me know your favorite thing about Lammas in this upcoming season coming up for fall in the comments. It really helps grow the channel, and it really helps, like, again, what I talk about, release. What should we leave behind? If there's anything, again, that you guys love about my videos, let me know. And if there's something that you don't like so much, say, you know what, I'm kind of good with that. You should leave that behind. So I would really appreciate that. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you soon, because Mabon is just around the corner. So see you soon. Bye.